So this is as we're getting close to the 1 year anniversary of when I wrote the script, we're getting pretty close to that. I figured it would be a good idea to look back on the movie and talk a little bit about the behind the scenes. I'll probably post like some kind of behind the scenes look at stuff in a little bit. So yeah, just right off the bat, this disclaimer here. This was actually a suggestion I got when I was writing the script because of all the things that happened in it. Just to make sure that I, just making sure I was doing the right thing and making sure that no one was going into it expecting one thing and then getting out something else. If that makes sense, All right, let's start the thing. I haven't watched this all the way through. So already we're kind of getting a departure from the original script. The script originally had it be a blank wall where Thomas would then walk in with the bag on his hand. We would have the lights flash on the side of his face, but the limited budget, my own limited editing expertise kind of got in the way of being able to do that the way that I wanted. I think the way that I introduced it as a film by Thomas Nance is interesting also. The voice of the doctor here was actually someone who when I was writing the original script actually was the voice of.
I know you're probably wondering about that.
Let's pause. Actually, was actually the voice of Thomas himself. When I was doing the script originally, they wouldn't let us read any of the parts of the script just so we could kind of listen in on it, and she read the voice and really kind of brought the character to life. So I wanted to make sure, even though I knew that I would be playing the role in the final product, I wanted to make sure that Jess was involved in some way because of how important she was to the original script process.
I know you're probably wondering about the bag, and sorry, Dr. Kent.
These scenes were always pretty difficult to film because the slits on the eyes were very small, and there were so many really giant monologues that this character had to give. So it was difficult having to. It was difficult to actually read the script and actually deliver the lines with the bag. Another concern that I had, which thankfully I didn't have to do this, but I was very concerned that I would have to that the sound wasn't going to pick up on the camera when I was recording it. So I was concerned that I was going to have to mute the sound and then basically like redub the voice over. So I'm very happy that I didn't have to do that.
I can remember, really. And things got so bad that I came to you for help, and it did. It really did help. But then the pandemic hit, and
I thought.
You know what?
I feel like there were a lot of.
So.
I feel like setting it in the pandemic was making it more timely, right? Like I feel like setting it during the pandemic was because a lot of people were obviously focusing on these are the physical health things, like you could get sick, like that. But what I felt needed to be showcased more was shining more of a spotlight on the. Sound did not pick up on this clip at all. Was focusing on the mental health aspects of it as well, because I feel like that was something that really needed to be focused on more. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that was the reasoning behind that.
That's cool.
So this right here, this was actually a mistake. So in the original script, I had the character watching The Office because that's what a lot of people did during quarantine. But I realized that there were probably copyright reasons with that. So I ended up putting on a recording of a school play actually that I had, but I forgot to add any sound under it. So now it's just him staring up into space. So maybe
I've always
So
felt like
it's a
this.
goof, but I don't know. Maybe
It's pretty much a part of me.
it emphasizes the loneliness.
But it goes through phases, I guess you could say. Like, sometimes it's barely noticeable.
The idea with having
and other
the character
times
wear the bag
it dominates
as like a
everything.
mask
Like,
kind
for
of thing,
example, these
was
last few weeks.
that was because I
have
wanted
not been
to.
good,
I felt
I have
there were
also
two
been
reasons
a lot
actually.
worse.
One, I felt that the bag
hit
was a
a
striking
all-time
image that would
low
let this story, get some
about,
more.
4 or 5 months ago.
You know,
Maybe it's not
it's a more
all-time
interesting
low.
way of going
The
about than
lowest
just
I've been.
having a person
Never felt as bad as I did
be
then, not
there.
even close.
Like instead, so
I was
it's
in
a more
relationship,
striking image.
and she
Um,
really
And
she didn't treat
actually,
me like
to
she didn't she
go
wasn't good
to, if
to
I can
me.
just pause right there, the bag that that the girlfriend who I name as X in the credits because they're literally the X and I don't give them an actual name. That was actually the original bag that I used in some of the early tests for this. But I ultimately ended up not. I ended up using the bigger bag because it looked better. But I had lying around and I wanted to make sure that I had something to go over this bit in order to make sure that the movie wasn't getting too monotonous. So, repurposed props.
And it really had a
But to go back to what I was saying before is the other reason that I wanted to make sure the character's face was hidden the whole time was that it kind of let sorry, it lets the audience
better, but it really
it lets the audience kind of project themselves their own feelings to the character. So like Thomas could literally be anyone. It could be. It could be you. It could be someone you know. It's kind of like a placeholder character, if that makes sense. Like you're just supposed to put yourself in the shoes of the character. I think is kind of what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense.
Not yet. Hi, and happy week 4.
This was very difficult to film, I remember, for some reason. I don't know why this was so hard to film. But it was because I think I had to hold it at a weird angle for some reason. I don't remember why, but for some reason I had to reshoot this part like 4 times.
A couple days ago. I'll be the first to admit, I did not expect these videos to work when you first gave me this assignment. But I have to say, they really have been doing wonders. So, thank you. And
so I don't know why I chose to do this, but I decided to try to put it on a tripod for that part. Like go from my hand onto the tripod. I think that was the issue.
To improve. I honestly can't remember the last time I felt as good and, dare I say, as happy as I do now.
I don't know why this shot looks desaturated. Maybe that's just my screen. I don't know.
I know you're watching. And,
yeah, so there, with the, I know you're watching. I wanted to foreshadow, what happens to her later. So actually, you can see at the end of that shot, because I was trying to rush to get this shot done for whatever reason, you can actually see me already grabbing to take the bag off. I had another take that I ended up using in the trailer, which was better, but overall, I felt that the vocal performance was better for this take. So maybe what I could have done is I could have used these voice lines and added something. I don't know, something like that. There could have been options. So my reasoning in having this was because I wanted to add some levity to what's pretty much a very sad movie, and also it gives you kind of a whiplash when like boom, there's the whiplash is right there. So about this shot right here. The actual computer didn't record well, which is why I had to just use screenshots of the message. But the actual light from the computer was not as bright as I wanted it to end up being, so it didn't look as good. So I actually had to end up using an actual light for that shot. The music here is actually reversed. It is a violin, I believe, sound on my keyboard that I played, and then I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I reversed it? And I think it does sound pretty neat like that, and I like it a lot. This shot right here, I think it's kind of blurry. Could have done better with that, I think. This might be my favorite shot in the whole movie, honestly, or one of them. Because it's really just showing, like, there is a world out there, you know, beyond your windows, but you're not able to actually get to it because of the pandemic, and then also the depression and isolation that Thomas himself is facing during this time.
I'm completely alone. I've been talking to no one.
Yeah, as you could see there, I actually tried to reach for... I was able to make myself Crown Commander. I kept wanting to put my hands over my face, because that's just, a natural crying thing. But obviously I couldn't do that.
This is my first video in weeks. And I'm alone, so there's no one even seeing this. I'm talking to no one.
So,
the last few weeks,
I feel like there is the opportunity for, maybe Thomas, like, why didn't somebody else appoint, like, a new counselor to him, or a new therapist or something like that?
I've been wearing this bag all the time, because when I wake up
and the reasoning for that is because I actually,
myself.
There was someone, I will not name names, but there was someone very close in my life at this point, who is still close in my life.
I know Dr. Kent would say to
who,
overcome, be strong, but I don't know if I can do that anymore.
When the pandemic hit, their therapist basically completely ghosted them. So that was kind of what I was trying to do with that. Also, I want you to notice that the battery level in the camera goes down as his depression is setting in. That was spur of the moment. In the original script, I did not have Thomas hitting the camera over. That was just completely spur of the moment on my part. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but that was actually just, off the cuff, like, what would this character do? So this is one of the 2 fades, I think, in the entire product. Most of the time when it transitions is just a straight cut.
Be strong, have courage, prevail. It will.
This part I always thought was kind of cheated, but you did kind of need that kind of motivation to get him to
get up, Thomas.
To prevail,
Thomas.
What's your emergency?
So to create the sound of Thomas's body falling, that was actually my foot stomping combined with some coffee table books I threw on the ground, and I got the sound, and it sounded close enough to a body falling. Another thing I want you to notice here is that it's a lot more bright. I oversaturated it to give more of a kind of, like, because the contrast was already pretty good, because obviously I was recording at night and very desaturated, whereas here it was daytime, so it already was very bright.
Go well for a while.
But
I got better.
yeah, I had to just to give it even more contrast. I wanted to make it as bright as possible.
That I tried to anyway.
So the reason I didn't want to say that the character tried to kill himself was because I didn't want to be, like, insensitive to people who had gone through with that. But also I didn't want it. I wanted it to be similar to what the bag. I wanted it to be so that people could fill in the blank on their own. With what their own experiences are, how they dealt with the isolation of the pandemic, etc.
Where I made lots of great friends, like Johnny. He was great. I love that guy. And I
don't know why I had that in. That's just funny.
I don't know what I'm going to do next. I don't know what I'm doing with all these videos, but I hope that my story can...
in that line there, with he doesn't know what he's doing with all the videos, it's kind of wrapping it to the beginning where I say that, Bagman, a film by Thomas Nance.
That I can promise.
And it's like, that's what he does with the videos. So I'm very happy that I got these shots the way I did. The sky was absolutely beautiful that night. I wish I'd gotten more, honestly. So the character wearing white here is kind of symbolic of how, like, he's emerged from this. He's it's pure. It's, you could read it as, going to heaven kind of moment. And then I decided not to have the character actually take the mask off all the way, the bag off all the way, so that you don't actually ever see the character's face. Because again, I didn't want it to be the kind of thing where like, oh, you see their face and now, that's it. Like, I wanted you to be able to project yourself into the character. And yeah, that's the end of the movie. So yeah, this is probably the thing I'm most proud of at this point. Honestly, it was great making it. I basically, as you see from the credits, I basically did everything I literally did everything for this project. I filmed it all, directed it, wrote the script entirely by myself, etc., etc. All of it was entirely me. All the music was by me. Everything was by me. So that was, I'm happy I made this. There are a couple things that I could have tweaked and made better if I wanted to go back. Yeah, but it's nothing that's like so serious that I should. Honestly, I feel like tampering with it is kind of diluting it in a way. And then ending with the bag. Maybe that's, at the time, that, was just a good way to end it. But I think in hindsight, it was kind of, like, because we had all of the new surges and stuff like that, I think maybe it's hinting that he slips back into that desperation or something. Who knows? It can mean whatever you want. So, will there be a Bagman 2? No, there will not be a Bagman 2, because what's the point? You wouldn't want to see that. But I hope Thomas, ends up happy, and I hope I think he is.